Hi, I'm Lisa Singer. I am the Senior Director of Events Programming at MediaPost, and this is Brand Insider BTS, where I get to pull back the curtain on some of the most influential women marketers today. With me is Melanie DiBiaso. She is the Media and MarTech Director of Media and MarTech at Ocean Spray Cranberries. Welcome, Melanie.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad you could do this. And, we first finally met in person at the CPG Summit in November, I believe. So that was so fun to hang out with you. So I really enjoyed that. Now I'm glad that we're able to do this and I can find out a little bit more about you. I know at the summit, a big part of what we talked about was your viral TikTok campaign. And that was with the guy on the skateboard holding the boombox kind of thing and listening to, wait, what song was it? It was Dreams, is that right?
Dreams, Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac, yes. And such a fun video. I love that. But what I want to ask you is if you had your own, like this guy, he did this, obviously, that's his personality. He's on his skateboard. That's the music he likes to jam to. What about you? What would your TikTok video be? Would it be, on a bike, on skis, maybe strolling? Like what music would you be jamming out to?
Yeah, so it's funny. I like bikes indoors, but I don't know that I'm a big outdoor biker. I like to be on foot outdoors. I'm a big walker runner, so probably just walking or running. And definitely something Harry Styles, probably music from a sushi restaurant. I'm really into his new album.
Yeah, I like Harry Styles too. What's the one? Is it Late Night Talking?
Late Night Talking is great too. Yep.
That's actually on my workout, like, because I too like to walk. I walk around the beach, and that is, they just kind of, that one. And what's the other one? Ed Sheeran. He is one that's the Bad Habits, I think it's called.
Bad Habits. Yep.
It just has that beat that you just want to.
You just jam.
Very cool. So, but are you into TikTok? Do you personally, not, I know professionally?
A little bit. It's funny. I'm more like, I'm such a millennial. I'm on Instagram Reels and I just pretend it's TikTok.
Okay, I get that. So, but yeah, no, I think TikTok, I go both ways in terms of, I don't post on TikTok, to be perfectly honest, but I don't post really on any of them. I'm not a big, unless it's for work, but I do, TikTok, I can see why. It's just that quick video that gets people either moving or listening, and you keep their attention. So definitely understand it. Well, and you talk about being a millennial, and obviously it's career-wise, there are certain things that were sort of available to you at the time when you were graduating, kind of thing, and now, and it's not even that many years later, but it's like the whole world of things that options can do. But what were you envisioning? Like, I know you started on the agency side, and before then you've been now at Ocean Spray, I think like 12 years. So that's a really, for a marketer, that's a really good stint. Okay. What were you thinking when you graduated? What were your your goals and looking to see where you saw your career going?
Yeah, so I was always a really good writer. So I knew I wanted to be in some sort of communications. So originally I was thinking journalism. So it's funny that I'm talking to you. That was originally my goal. And I went to Boston University for school, and just went into the College of Communications and kind of had open eyes to see like what I would be, what I would like. So I took some journalism classes, but I took some advertising classes, and I really, really enjoyed advertising. So just ended up pivoting to that and did a couple internships. And actually one of my internships was the agency that I ended up working for 3 years. So, I just got into the world of digital. And as I was working at Overdrive at the time, that's when social was really emerging. It was out when I was in college, but it was really becoming a big thing and becoming a pay-for-play platform a little bit at that time. And so our agency got really into it, and I started learning the world of social, and then had the opportunity come up at Ocean Spray as they had just started, entering that universe and wanted someone who had some experience, which at that time, crazy enough, we were few and far between. So I jumped in as Ocean Spray's first social media person, and then have evolved my role in a lot of different ways since then.
Well, and it's funny how you say that when you were at the agency, and that was when social just started sort of taking off. But you have two frames of thought, I think, with people. Okay, I don't want to be a part of this. It's
Yeah,
stupid, whatever. And then another part is, okay, if I want to be relevant today, I need to learn
exactly.
this and pursue it, whether I like it personally or not, or whatever may be the option. So
Right.
did you ever have that mindset? Like, did you ever sort of think, do I really care about this? Or was it always something that you knew, okay, as I said, if you want to be able to be
Yeah.
relevant in what's going on today, you need to be a part of it.
I was always really into it. I think part of it is because like the way that Facebook came about, it was very exclusive. And so my school was among the first ones to get in. And so we were all over like, what is this thing? I don't even know, but I need to be there. I know I need to be there. And so, I was on it personally from the very beginning. And then when it became a part of, my career, I was like, well, this is kind of cool because at that point it was starting to get really big, and I think you could just see that like this is going to become something. And so it was really exciting for me as someone who was new in my career to jump in and be able to say like I feel like I'm a part of something big, and like I can really get in on the ground floor.
Yeah. And well, and as I sort of said in the initially, when I asked my question was, things have changed a lot even since from when you graduated, and that's kind of not only the world we live in, but it's particularly the marketing industry.
Yeah.
How are you able to, like, for someone who is maybe just starting out and they're looking at it as, okay, this is what's available to me or what our options are, but you needed to pivot and do whatever you needed to do and keep moving on. How did you navigate yourself throughout all of these changes?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just like wanting to learn. I've always had that curiosity, and I wanted to learn. And so there's something that's new. And again, I think you have to kind of see the potential in that. Like if I learn this now, I'm going to be one of not that many people that really know this. And then you're in a good position to then grow your career because you're so marketable. And so I think seeing those opportunities, and really being able to, kind of see past the initial personal reaction of maybe this isn't for me, but how impactful could this be on the world, and how beneficial is it going to be for me to take the time to learn about it and become an expert in it, and then what does that open up for my career? And so that's really the way that I looked at it, and the way that I would encourage others to look at opportunities like that, because I think sometimes we can be a little more short-sighted if we're looking at something just kind of from that personal angle of, oh, I really don't like that. I really don't like social media. You don't have to like social media to work in it.
Right. Well, and to be honest, like, I was a journalist and social media first came about. And again, I don't necessarily like promoting myself, and it's,
Yeah.
kind of does a weird, but I talk about other people. That's so that
Yeah.
I enjoy. But so it wasn't an easy thing for me to embrace, at least personally. But I realized I had to learn it if I wanted to, keep
Exactly.
working and keep staying relevant and all of that. But I definitely see the tendency to sort of be, this is, it
Yeah.
dilutes journalism. It makes, like you can get the high horse. So
Right. Right.
I'm curious though, because as you said, it had started you even personally were using social. Ocean spray has been around a long time, more of a legacy, I'm sure more traditional in some ways. So what kind of obstacles did you face with making, letting the higher ups know this is what we need to be doing?
A lot. A lot. Honestly, it took, I will say, crazy enough, really, until that TikTok moment to truly feel like we've broken through. And now I feel like we have broken through. Like we're finally in a place where it's like they trust us, like we can do stuff. And in that moment, like our leadership was amazing about it all. They participated in the challenge. And I mean, it was great. But I started at Ocean Spray in 2011, and so again it was very early on, and Ocean Spray was also kind of late to the game as a brand entering Facebook. That was the year that they had joined Facebook, and so but they didn't know what to do, and they were very unsure, and they were very like traditional TV heavy brand. And so it was coming in, and that's why they brought me in. And so like my manager at the time really pushed to say, this is really important for us, we need to be there, made the case and brought me in. And then we hired an agency as well. and just had to kind of keep chipping away at it. So it's, you know, you find ways to create small wins. And then smaller wins turn into bigger wins as you're able to sell in, you know, spending a little bit more, or trying something a little bit new, or entering a new platform and trying to be a first mover. And so, you know, we started out slow, but those small wins kept kind of building. And then, you know, now I feel like we're still not quite like first movers, but we're definitely a lot quicker to the game than we were before. And honestly, like being forced to join TikTok when we did really helped us in that way, to just say like we weren't ready, but we just had to jump in. And sometimes doing that and reaping the benefits of that then makes you realize like, okay, you know, I don't necessarily need to be quite as buttoned up as I did in the past, and as I do for, you know, TV advertising and things like that.
Yeah. And but the thing is, as you said, you know, you had that viral moment, which was amazing. You know, that
Yeah.
was, everyone was showing it and loving it. And that opened everyone's eyes within, you know, the organization. And how would you, because other people aren't always, you can't create the viral moment. Even when someone, even when a brand has a viral moment, it's like, you know, they can sit there and talk about it, you know, at our events. But it's no way they can tell us exactly do step 1, 2, and 3 to create it again, because there is no fail-safe recipe.
Yeah.
So how do you, like, now moving forward, knowing that, and not to say you won't have another viral moment, but knowing that, how do you feel like you're going to, what have you learned to know that this is how you need to navigate to be doing those new things and getting everyone aligned with it, even those who, you know, may be resonant about it?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, I think first off, you know, the reason that we got so lucky is because we're such a beloved brand. And so I really think at the end of the day, like it's all about brand building. And I think you know, a lot of, you can get hung up on driving sales. And obviously that's critically important to any business. But I think especially in the social space, there's so much you can do to build a brand, to build a community, and to make people just feel like they want to have your products and post about it. And you know, you can't force that. It has to be natural. And that's why that happens. So I think it's so important for us to just continue building that. And then it's just, you know, finding those right communities and building them up, and finding the right influencers to partner with, you know, here and there, and to get that third party credibility. Again, and when they might not hit big like that one did, and again, that one was not even a partnership with us at the time, but just finding those opportunities, because even just an influencer partnership that like hits at the right time in the right place could do the same thing that Nathan did for us. And so it's just staying active and really being aware of the conversations that are happening and how people feel about your brand, and finding those niches of like, where are your real brand lovers? Like we know that people love our flavors, and that was, you know, Nathan's was cran raspberry, but there's someone out there like him that's cran watermelon and cran tropical, and you know, we know that people love our flavors. So like, how do we build that story around the different flavors and rally those communities in support of their own? Like we've done March Madness brackets with our flavors and stuff like that. So it's really just creating that content that's going to keep them there and keep them engaged.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Well, I want to ask you, because obviously, you know, you talk about that being a little bit of a challenge, getting everyone in line with what you need to do social media wise. What about you? Did you ever face any obstacle or challenge in your career that maybe you even might have thought, okay, this is not for me. You know, I need to do something else. And how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think, you know, for me in general, the hardest thing that I've had to just learn and continue to grow to build my career is being an advocate for myself. And so I think that in that way, like the biggest obstacle that I've had, and it's happened to me twice, is having a manager that has either left the organization, been a part of a layoff, or something along those lines, and kind of being like, okay, now it's me. Like, you know, now I am that person who is accountable. I am that leader, and being forced to step into that role, but also being hesitant to step into that role. So like the first time it happened to me, I kind of kept a back seat, and I was like, okay, I'll wait till, you know, someone else is hired, because I'm not qualified for that job. So I'm just going to do what I can to get the job done. And the second time I really said, you know, that I think the last time I I probably could have like stepped up and tried to be more of a leader and advocate for myself. And maybe that role could have been mine rather than hiring somebody in. And so that's actually how I got my most recent promotion, is that, that role was gap, and I stepped up and advocated for myself to be able to fill it. And I had been doing the job. It's just having that confidence in myself and being, comfortable enough to also speak about it. And I think, unfortunately, it's not an uncommon problem among women. And it's something that I've always had a hard time with, but I'm definitely learning and getting there, and feel like it's a huge obstacle still, but one that I'm getting more confident in every day.
Yeah, and because you even said it, it's women seem to have that issue more so, and more so than men. And not to be that there aren't men who have their insecurities about whatever, but they're even, and I don't know if someone told me this or I read it or maybe a combination, but that women are more likely to go after the job that their resume, they need to check all the boxes if there's a job out there, whereas men will go after the job that they want. So they maybe can't check all the boxes, but that's what they're aspiring to do.
Right.
And how do you, I mean, like you said, you face that challenge. I mean, obviously, and in your own corner, even not just about going out, even if you were looking to go outside where, ocean spray, but like within your organization, it was still an insecurity that you had, but you absolutely are overcoming it. What do you suggest for women, especially women who want to maybe change careers and they have all the skill sets, but then they necessarily cross over, and how do you get past?
I think it's honestly, it sounds cliche, but it's truly believing in yourself. I mean, it's because I think for me, it's exactly what you said. Like, I think I could have checked 9 out of 10 boxes, but it was like, oh, well, I've never managed someone, so I could never be a leader. That's not true at all. Like, you have all of the skills of being a leader. You're probably a mentor to 5 other people at least, right? In and out of your organization. You might be a parent, right? That's also, those are huge leadership skills. And so I think you just think outside the box and like figure out like, what are these transferable skills, and it's belief in yourself and advocating for yourself. And it's a muscle you have to build. It's uncomfortable when you start kind of saying those things. If you're like me anyway, it's not something that you don't want to talk about yourself. You said it too. It's hard, but it's something that's so important if you want to grow your career. And to your point, there's going to be a man who would probably come in and steamroll over you if you don't speak up. So I think it's just so important that you like continue to work on it and just like put yourself in those uncomfortable situations and try it and build that muscle.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you have to be realistic. I'm not going to suddenly be like, I'm going to, I want to be the chief of surgery at but at the same point, I think we have to get over ourselves. Like, I think women, and there are some men out there as well. I hate to always see it men and women, but I do feel in general that men have a little bit more where they kind of just say, what the heck, I'm going to just go for it.
Gonna try it. Yeah.
I think that we women need to sort of get that mentality. And also, we both said it earlier, we're not necessarily good at promoting ourselves on social. Well, promoting yourself everywhere. Like, those are things that you need to be able to do comfortably. What is there anything you say? I mean, I'm sure you can think of, and you don't have to talk specifics because you still are at the same company, but just a time when you maybe went in there, and how did you sort of give yourself that pep talk to be, I remember I'm this, like, what did you do to get yourself to that point?
Yeah, I mean, practice, like it again, like saying it to nobody, and even like talking to my husband and to coworkers and everything. Again, it's like, for me, I think I still needed some of that validation. And so hearing at least from other people, like, yeah, you got this, you're good. So, like finding a couple of trusted colleagues to just say like, am I crazy? Could I go for this? Because you will get that validation. Like, I think 9 times out of 10, you're going to get that. And then again, it's like practicing and then just like finding the time and like putting it on the calendar and not backing down from it. Like you have to just like put it there. You can't say, oh, I'm going to just add it to my agenda for that meeting, because you won't get to it. Like, you have to set the time and say, this is going to be it. This is going to be the conversation.
Yeah. No, I like will get a pit in my stomach and I'll be like, all right, write it out. I'm a writer. Like I definitely like write everything out, and I'll be like, and then, it's just, but it's still, it's like I don't know. And I don't know, like, what's the worst that can happen? You're told no.
Exactly. Exactly. And then I'm just back where I am anyway. So
Right. No one's going to say, oh, you asked for more, so forget it, leave, so
exactly.
um, but all right, moving away from that and going back a little bit to, I still love all of your ads. The one for the holidays where you have
Yep.
everyone sort of bored, sitting around the table, and then they have of course, everything's bland color, and then you have the cranberry
Mhm.
sauce. So it gets everyone jiggling, and there's like this, dance music kind of stuff playing on. I don't know exactly what dance. So what I want to ask you again, putting it on your side of it, what would make you dance? So what's the music that you like? We talked a little bit about that jamming to, if you're
Yep.
going and walking around, but how about your dance music that would just, if you were sitting in a place and all of a sudden it started, playing, you'd be like, all right, let's get up and dance.
Probably anything 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
Again, showing my millennial age, but like that Super Bowl halftime show with like Snoop and Eminem, like that. Those are my jams. All day, every
Were
day.
you up dancing when that was?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, when you were, let's go back to your 90s when you were jamming
Yeah.
to those kind of music. So what was the kind of things you like to do for that? I'm not, just when you'd head out and you'd want to be like, this is a fun night. This is, let's find this music. What type of atmosphere was it? What were you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think at that time of my life was probably when we were going out to like clubs and bars and stuff. And so that's probably why, I still like just want to dance to that music because it's just such good memories from college. And yeah.
No, I know. No, it is. I mean, I think music really does evoke feelings or memories, or like I definitely, there are certain songs, and I'll know that reminds me of when I went to Mexico, or when I was here, or just certain times in your life.
Definitely.
So, well, I want to sort of ask you about, I know that you recently lost a colleague, and I saw your post, and obviously he meant a lot to you, his name Dan Hamilton. And your post, I thought, was so special. Like it really paid tribute to him in how you said it. I thought it was really, you're talking about how everyone really needs to remember to not to tell people how they feel and about them. But also you talked about how he impacted you, and you wish he knew that, you want him to know how much he impacted you. So, I mean, first of all, talk about that and going through that. And then I would like to know how that's made you think now, because then I'm sure it brings to mind, how do you want people to be impacted by yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was an incredibly difficult time. He passed suddenly. He was my manager and a huge advocate of mine. And like I said in my LinkedIn post, I just feel like I've been robbed of the opportunity to tell him like all the things that I would have if I had known like this is going to be the last time that I would talk to him. So I think, I mentioned earlier, being my own advocate is something that was hard for me. And Dan was one of the people who, he was the one that I did advocate for myself to, and helped me get that promotion. And he truly believed in me. I mean, I didn't even have to like get through half a sentence, and I could already see that he was like so supportive and wanted to help me, and was like, yes, you deserve this. And helped me build that confidence that I will take with me, obviously, for the rest of my career and the rest of my life. So he really just helped me then truly believe in myself and see my value, and lifted me up to be able to do things that I would have never even thought that I was qualified for. Again, just like his empowerment and the way that he just pumps you up was amazing, and he had the best energy. So I know that just as that means so much to me, I'm sure that him hearing that and like how empowered and valuable he made me feel would have had an amazing impact on him. And of course I thanked him and I said things here and there, but I feel like there are many words that I would have said if I had the chance. And so, as you said, as a leader for me, I know that I would be extremely touched, and can only hope that someone would feel that way, or I would have that kind of impact on anybody else. And it's certainly something that I would want to hear if someone felt that way. So just a reminder that life is short, and we should really like take the time to say the things that are on our mind and on our hearts more so than you think, because you just never know.
No, I know, and I'm sorry you lost such an important person in your life like that. And again, as I mean, there's certain things you just can't expect. You don't know. You can't take for granted, I guess,
Right.
is what it amounts to. And do you see yourself maybe, not that you, I mean, I know, well, I don't know you really well, but just with my interactions with you and any time I've had, conversations with you, you're a really good, smart, professional, like you're a good person. So I can't
Mhm.
imagine that anyone working for you wouldn't feel that, or wouldn't,
Yeah.
be have that kind of impact. But did it make you give pause about anything else? Like as you move forward as a leader, like, how much, Dan affected
Mhm.
you. Do you maybe have him on your shoulder, sort of giving, kind of saying, okay, this is
Yes.
how I want to handle this now or move forward?
Absolutely. There we were that's the funny thing. We were so different. Like we could not have been more different. Like I'm like type A, rule follower, like very professional, like proper. And he was the one who would like swear and break all the rules and do his own thing and carve his own path. And at the beginning, that was hard for us to figure out how to work with each other, because it's hard in a business environment when you are so different. And I would send him like really long emails and then he never read them. And I was like, well, how do I get through to you? And figuring that out.
Yeah.
And I think first off, it taught me how to work with someone like that, how to work with very diverse working styles, which I think is also a really important skill. But also like there are so many things now that I'm like, I'm thinking about doing something and I'm like, but what would Dan do? Like, would Dan do that? Or would he say like, that doesn't matter. Like, just like focus on the more important things. And there are a lot of things that I'm trying to like let go that I think he would tell me to let go, that otherwise I would go out of my way and probably spend way too much time and effort on for not a whole lot of results. So definitely always on my shoulders.
Well, and you guys probably that made a good team, in the
It
sense
did.
that you have these different qualities. I mean, yes, you have to figure it out. You have to figure out how to make it work. But in the you don't necessarily want everyone thinking the same. You want what
Exactly.
you said, the diversity, being able to work well with that. But I also think maybe you're a little less type A now, or
I'm trying.
well, I think that's great. And again, I'm really sorry that you had to lose someone like that in your life. But
Thank you.
I wanted to mention it, and because I know
Mhm.
he was someone who's very important to you.
Absolutely.
But well, we definitely can't end on that. So I need to liven it up a little bit,
Yeah.
and just if you could live in any time period, when would that be?
So this is probably an unpopular opinion given my job. But although we've talked a little bit about this, but I'd go back to a time before social media. So I think like not, I wouldn't go back like to the olden days. Like I like technology, I like the modern world, but I just think there's something that social media has broken in us. I think like I find myself like doom scrolling, and there's just so much negativity out there. People like hide behind a screen and have so many things to say that they would never say to your face. Like nobody calls each other anymore. We don't see each other in person anymore. It's just, I wish that we could go back to like, like my childhood, like before we might, the internet's okay, but like before the social media stuff, and just go back to like having some normal like human to human interaction and not hiding behind a computer screen to say half of the things that you want to say.
No, I like just texting to someone, yeah, I'm coming, or what time we meeting, things like that. But to like when someone is like, how are you? And it's like,
Right.
seriously, how do you really, like,
Right.
and I get it, because I know that for others, that's a very, comfortable way of, talking to one another. But for me, I'm just sort of like, good, like,
Right. Right.
I
Like
don't know,
let's
like,
have dinner and I'll tell you about my
and then
life.
we can talk
But
all
yeah.
about it. So I totally agree. And I know I said that was the last question, but I do want to hear if has there been anything that's been a real, 'cause you just were talking about social media, but there's other things that are happening that are new, or just things that maybe you're testing. Let's go more personally than professionally, but
Okay.
anything that's more something really relevant that you've discovered, or something that you've come across that really matters in your life.
I mean, I think
Or
so.
let me say, just not to put you completely on the spot.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, I mean, it matters or maybe doesn't matter. Like just a
Right.
revelation that it could go either way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so there's two things actually. I think one would be that kind of going back to some of the lessons that I've learned over the past year, and particularly one that came from Dan was being like, you don't have to say yes to everything. Like, and that again, it's back to like those things that I'm like constantly telling myself. And one of the stories that he actually told us was that and he learned this from his dad when he worked at Procter and Gamble, was that when you get an email, you have to categorize it immediately, A, B, or C. If it's an A, like you respond to it right away. If it's a B, you might take some time, but you're going to get back to it. And if it's a C, you just delete it. And like when he said that, I was like, like, what
No,
do you mean you delete it? I don't delete anything.
uh-huh.
Um, but it's just, again, what's important. So I think like that kind of just that in my career, I think is really important. And again, I'm working towards that and like really trying to just be more intentional and prioritize and say no to things. And I think that just translates into life again with like by prioritizing like what is important. And our jobs are obviously very important to us. We spend a lot of time there. They make us money to live, right? But our life and our families are also very important. And I think like prioritizing that balance, especially for me as a mom, I've got two young kids, and they are my life, and my husband and my dog, and like work is important, but prioritizing the things that are important to you, and having to make choices sometimes that may not get you the most kudos at work, but maybe that's what I just needed to do that day because that's what's important to me. So I think it's just again like taking that step back and saying like what's really important to you as a human being, and you can't do everything. Just accept that you can't do everything and do what you can and prioritize what's important.
Yeah, and I agree when you say balance, and that's something, we can say we are learning from younger generation that
Yes.
have that work-life balance. And we can say, oh, we want about, oh, you're going to have always generations saying they do this and that's wrong, or this is
Right.
whatever. And you can find bad and good in all of us in generations when you talk stereotypes. But I do think that finding that work-life balance has not been something that's easier for the older generations. And I think that
Absolutely.
that's something we could take a page from.
Yep.
So,
Great.
well, Melanie, thank you so much. This was awesome. I'm really glad I get to know you even more. It's always fun at the events, but we don't always get to have these kind of conversations. So I really appreciate it.
Agreed. Thanks again for having me. This has been great.
Good. I'm glad. And thank you for watching. And as I always ask, if there's a woman marketer that you know or would like to know more about, please just let me know, ask me, and I will do my best to get them. So thanks again for watching. And Melanie, again, thank you.
Thank you.